In the past, blessings had to be very discreet. Those that have supported us over the years have been very brave. We're in a moment now that might change. It's being allowed to be more public, and I can understand why some people on the conservative wings are very distressed by that.
On the 18th of December last year, there was a declaration, a papal document released by Pope Francis, and it was called Fiducia Supplicans. And it's about blessings for same-sex couples and for those who are in irregular relationships. A blessing is a very ancient form of people connecting their own activities with the activity of God. It's a way of people declaring that they want God in this situation. These pastoral blessings are to be performed in a casual way. They're not to dress up as if it's a wedding, because this is not a sacrament of marriage. The declaration makes it very clear that this isn't a legitimation of a same-sex relationship. The African bishops have made it very clear that they won't be accepting this declaration. Alternative to that is what's happening in Germany, and the bishops are calling for a review of the understanding of the same-sex relationships within the church. I have seen very little from the Australian Catholic Church. We need to have more communication around this so that we get some clarity of position.
The first time it came to my attention was on the Catholic News. A lot of Catholics would get in their inbox in the morning, they'd get the Catholic News feeds. And this was a curious one because it came from sort of nowhere. Everyone was sort of originally saying, well, I don't know what that means.
Lord, we ask you to bless these candles.
So I'm the National Executive Officer of the Knights of the Southern Cross. We have sort of our own rules and attachment to the Catholic Bishops' Conference. We see ourselves as a sort of strong order of committed Catholic men. Seeing it from the side of people who take a more conservative view, even though the document doesn't change the policy, doesn't give any legitimisation to same-sex unions, it appears to. I think the confusion has resulted from that, and it sort of still remains, frankly. The position that we would understand applies to us is that if you are in that same-sex position, the exhortation is probably to live a celibate life. I have a lot of sympathy and admiration for same-sex men, for example, who do live that celibate lifestyle. As Catholics, I think it's a real sign of commitment and devotion, and I recognise that that sacrifice is very hard for them. But notwithstanding that position about the Church's moral teaching, I still really believe we could do more to be more inclusive to gay and lesbian couples in the Church in Australia.
I, along with most queer people in and outside the Church, would like a radical change in sexual teaching in the Catholic Church. But if they change it overnight, it may cause a massive rupture in the Church, so the Pope walks a fine line. Now there's a document that says don't withhold blessings unnecessarily from these couples. I would argue that's a radical change in an institution that's very old and slow-moving.
I proclaim that they are now husband and husband.
Ben and I got married about 2 months ago. We were really lucky to be married in Wesley Uniting Church in Melbourne CBD.
We had long-term friends who were Catholic priests that gave us a private blessing about an hour before in a small adjoining chapel. We would have done it in a Catholic church had there been no barriers, including for the priests, not just for us. I think that blessings are going to be more common. The numbers are not going to be huge, but I do think those that do happen will be quite meaningful.
There's a symbol for change in the Catholic Church, and the symbol is the snail. The snail moves very, very slowly, but it brings all of its belongings with it, and it makes a difference, little bit at a time. This week, the Vatican has released another new declaration called Dignitas Infinita on human dignity. The document states the Church's opposition to surrogacy parenthood, gender-affirming procedures, and gender theory, or the idea that someone's gender can be different to what was presumed for them at birth. There seems to be a feeling that this is a reaction to the declaration in December on blessings for same-sex couples. However, this particular document has been in the works for 5 years. Progress on social issues, I don't believe, is ever a straight line. It's just that the Church changes slowly, and that's a safeguard to change slowly rather than to be on the forefront of change and then find that you're wrong.
Whether or not there would be a gay marriage in a Catholic church in my lifespan, or women priests, or a lesbian pope, I don't expect that to happen in my lifespan, but I do expect that to happen eventually.